Imagine thinking you can outsmart a royal guard. One tourist decided to poke fun by mocking their serious demeanor, or even getting close enough to tug at a guard's coat. What he didn't expect was the guard's sudden and thunderous step forward, his rifle raised, and a voice booming. The tourist froze, his face pale, as the crowd erupted into laughter. He walked away in humiliation, but his foolish mistake lives on in countless viral videos. This story is just the beginning. In this video, we'll uncover 10 jaw-dropping, hilarious, and downright embarrassing stories of people who messed with the royal guard and instantly regretted it. Part 1. Don't get in the way of the guards. The royal guards are known for their unwavering discipline, and they don't take kindly to anyone getting in their way. On a busy day outside Buckingham Palace, a man decided it would be funny to stand directly in the path of an approaching guard. As the guard marched forward, the man didn't budge, thinking it would make for a good photo op or a clever joke. But the guards are no-nonsense professionals, and they don't slow down for anyone. Without hesitation, the lead guard took one powerful step forward and bumped the man out of the way with military precision. The man, caught off guard, stumbled backward, nearly losing his balance before stepping quickly aside. The crowd around him erupted into laughter, while the guard continued marching as if nothing had happened. The man learned the hard way that the royal guards don't stop for anything or anyone. Part 2. Why you don't harass the Queen's Guard. The royal guards are famous for their unbreakable focus and discipline, and testing that is a risky game. One tourist decided to have a bit of fun by following a guard during his ceremonial march outside Buckingham Palace. At first, the man mimicked the guard's every step, trying to match his pace and movements. The guard, unfazed, continued on his route, but the tourist wasn't done yet. He decided to push it further. As the guard turned a corner, the man darted in front of him, blocking his path and making a joke. "What's the matter, mate? Are you lost?" He laughed, hoping to get a reaction. But the guard had a zero-tolerance policy for such disruptions. Without missing a beat, he swiftly turned around, raised his rifle, and aimed it directly at the tourist, shouting, "Get back from the Queen's Guard!" The man froze, his smile fading as he realized the seriousness of the situation. The crowd gasped, and the tourist quickly stepped back, humiliated. Part 3. Angry Queen's Guardsman yells at a tourist in London. It's one thing to admire the royal guards from a distance, but some tourists push their luck, and that's exactly what happened outside Buckingham Palace. A man, eager to entertain himself and the growing crowd of onlookers, decided to stand right behind two guards who were standing at attention in front of a door. At first it seemed harmless enough, but then the man started dancing, bopping around, and making exaggerated movements right behind the guards. The guards, however, remained unblinking, locked in their duty. But when the man's antics escalated, one of the guards had enough. Without warning, he spun around, raised his rifle, and shouted, "Oh! Get yourself away! You can't be done that shit, don't you know?" The man froze, his carefree dancing immediately turning to awkward embarrassment as the crowd burst into laughter. The guards, unaffected by the scene, returned to their positions as if nothing had happened. Part 4. Don't make fun of the guard. The royal guards are often the target of playful pranks and mockery from tourists, but they have a job to do, and they take it seriously. One such incident occurred outside Windsor Castle, where a crowd gathered to watch the impressive ceremony. A guard stood tall in front of the crowd, a rope separating the two, ensuring that the public couldn't get too close. As the crowd made fun of the guard's stoic demeanor, laughing and trying to get a reaction, the guard remained unfazed, maintaining his disciplined posture. However, there was one tourist who didn't understand the concept of respect. A young girl, bored by the stillness of the guard, decided to tug repeatedly on the rope. She thought it would be funny, but the guard wasn't amused. With a sharp, commanding voice, he bellowed, "Get off the rope!" His tone left no room for doubt that this behavior wouldn't be tolerated. The girl quickly let go, embarrassed as the crowd fell silent. Part 5. The royal guards are unstoppable. The royal guards are a symbol of unwavering discipline and duty, and they never let anything get in their way, no matter how extreme the circumstances. This was put to the test in a dramatic incident in 2022 when a group of protesters decided to lay down in the path of the royal guards. The guards, marching with purpose along their route, approached the protesters, who had chosen to block their way in a bid to make a statement. But the protesters quickly learned that nothing would stop the royal guards from fulfilling their duty. The guards didn't hesitate for a second. As the soldiers marched forward, they continued their path, unflinching and undeterred. The police, who were already on standby, swiftly intervened and began removing the protesters from the path. Despite the disruption, the royal guards didn't break stride. They remained focused on their duty, proving that nothing, no protest, no obstruction could stand in the way of their mission. Part 6. Terrified woman screams after being told not to touch the guard. When it comes to the royal guards, there's one rule that everyone must remember. Do not touch the guard, no matter how tempting it may seem. This lesson was learned the hard way by a woman who decided to get a little too close to a mounted guard standing outside a royal palace. The scene unfolded with the guard stationed firmly on his horse, keeping watch over the crowd of curious onlookers. As the woman approached the horse, she seemed to think it was harmless to stand near it, and perhaps even touch the guard's uniform. However, her actions crossed the line. Without any warning, the guard suddenly turned his head, raised his voice, and shouted, "Do not touch the Queen's Guard." The loud command echoed through the crowd, sending a clear message to anyone else thinking about breaking the rules. Startled by the guard's sudden outburst, the woman froze in shock. The loud reprimand, combined with the intensity of the guard's presence, caused her to scream in fear and jump back. Part 7. Queen's Guard knocks out taunting man with one punch. Some tourists just can't resist testing the patience of the royal guards, and one man learned the consequences of his actions the hard way. This particular incident took place outside Buckingham Palace, where a crowd of onlookers had gathered to catch a glimpse of the stoic soldiers. A man, perhaps thinking he was being funny, began taunting one of the guards. He mocked the soldier's unblinking stare, made exaggerated gestures, and even shouted at the guard, trying to provoke a reaction. But the royal guard, as always, remained motionless, refusing to give in to the man's antics. The crowd waited, curious to see if the guard would finally snap. But instead of staying passive, the guard calmly took a step forward and delivered a single, powerful punch to the man's chest. The force of the punch sent the man stumbling back, his legs buckling under him as he fell flat onto the ground in front of the amused crowd. The onlookers gasped, but the guard didn't flinch. With military precision, he returned to his post, as if nothing had happened. Meanwhile, the taunting man lay sprawled on the pavement, utterly humiliated by his own reckless behavior. Part 8. Don't take a picture with the royal guard's horse. One tourist learned the hard way why it's never a good idea to get too close to a royal guard's horse. While visiting the iconic Buckingham Palace, a woman decided she wanted the perfect souvenir photo one with the royal horse. The woman approached the horse, who was calmly standing beside the guard. She reached out thinking it would be harmless, but the horse, trained to remain alert and protective, didn't take kindly to the intrusion. Without warning, it turned its head and bit the woman on the arm, catching her by surprise. Startled and in pain, the woman collapsed in front of the crowd, causing an immediate commotion. The guard, unfazed, remained still, as his horse backed away, clearly agitated by the sudden contact. The crowd gasped as the woman tried to regain her composure, her dream photo shattered by her reckless mistake. Security quickly intervened, escorting the woman to safety, while the crowd murmured about the dangers of trying to get too close to the royal horses. The woman learned a valuable lesson that day. Don't try to take a picture with a royal guard's horse. These majestic creatures are not there for you to pose with. Part 9. Don't touch the guard's horse. Incident: tourist slaps horse across the face 3 times, guard shouts, steps in, and calls police. In one of the most shocking displays of disrespect, a tourist decided to take things too far while posing for a photo with one of the Queen's guards at Buckingham Palace. As the royal guard stood motionless, the tourist, perhaps eager for a more memorable picture, suddenly reached out and slapped the guard's horse across the face. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. The horse, startled by the unprovoked contact, shifted uneasily. The guard, maintaining his usual stoic demeanor, immediately reacted. With his voice booming, he shouted, "Step back. Don't touch the horse." But the tourist, oblivious to the seriousness of the situation, didn't seem to understand the gravity of the offense. Within moments, the guard signaled to the nearby police, who quickly intervened to remove the tourist from the scene. The situation escalated quickly, but thanks to the professionalism of the guard and the quick response of law enforcement, the situation was diffused before things got out of hand. Part 10. Provocation at the Royal Guard post. Horse and soldier respond. In this incident, a man gets too close to a royal guard and begins deliberately provoking the horse. He attempts to touch the horse repeatedly, despite the guard's clear signals to stay back. As the man taunts the horse and the guard, the situation begins to escalate. The guard tries to maintain his composure, but the repeated provocations become too much. He shouts a warning, asking the man to step back, but the man ignores the instructions and continues to act disrespectfully. At this point, an armed officer, who has been observing the scene, steps in to defuse the situation. The officer moves quickly to intervene, signaling to the man that his actions are unacceptable. The officer's presence ensures the safety of both the guard and the horse, while also sending a clear message that such behavior will not be tolerated. This tense moment highlights the professionalism and restraint of the royal guards, who remain focused on their duties despite the provocations. It's a reminder that interacting with the guards or their horses inappropriately can lead to serious consequences, and their duty to protect the royal family and public safety comes first. Messing with the royal guard might seem like a harmless joke, but as these stories show, it's a guaranteed way to embarrass yourself or worse. So, if you ever get the chance to see these legendary soldiers in person, remember to show respect and keep your distance. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more fascinating and hilarious stories like this one.